Hello and welcome to Feely Finance. In today's video, I'll be discussing ISAs versus SIPPs. I'll discuss the advantages and disadvantages of both investment vehicles, and I'll discuss which one's better for you depending on your personal circumstances. So let's get into it. So I'll start with SIPPs. So SIPP just stands for Self-Invested Personal Pension. There are numerous platforms in the UK that you can use to set up a SIPP. I'll start with the advantages to a SIPP. So the first clear advantage to a SIPP is that you get tax relief on contributions into a SIPP. So depending on whether you're a basic, higher or additional rate taxpayer, you'll get 20, 40 or 45% tax relief on your contributions. So that's a major advantage. Obviously, if you're getting top-ups to your contributions, that money can grow and compound over time. So that tax relief that you get will grow and compound over time, which can lead to significant gains over time. The second advantage to a SIPP is the contribution limit. So in 2024-25, you can contribute up to £60,000 per annum into a SIPP. You can also take advantage of unused allowances in previous years. So you can go back up to 3 years and use any unused allowances from previous tax years. So that's what a great advantage to the SIPP is, that you can contribute a significant amount of money into your SIPP. And obviously the more money you put into your SIPP, that can grow and compound over time and lead to great returns. Now I'll move on to the disadvantages of a SIPP. So the first clear disadvantage of a SIPP is that you can't access that money until the age of 55 currently, although that's increasing to 58 in April 2028. That's only increasing as well, so if you're only in your 30s or 40s, then it's likely that you'll probably be in your 60s before you can access that money. So that's a significant disadvantage to a SIPP. If you think you might need the money in the next 10 or 20 years, any money you put into a SIPP you won't be able to touch, so that's a significant disadvantage. Another disadvantage to the SIPP is that when you make withdrawals from your SIPP, it's taxable as income. So the first 25% of your pension can be withdrawn tax-free, but any withdrawals in excess of that are liable to income tax. So depending on whether you're going to be a 40 or 45% income taxpayer, you'll lose a significant chunk of your pension to tax. So that's the other disadvantage to the SIPP. So now I'll move on to ISAs. So the first clear advantage of the ISA is that your money grows in an ISA tax-free. So when you withdraw money out of your ISA, there's no tax payable on it. So there's no capital gains tax and there's no income tax, which contrasts with the SIPP. So when you make withdrawals from your ISA, there's no tax payable. So all of the gains that you've made, capital gains on dividends, will not be taxable when you make withdrawals from your ISA. That's a clear advantage of the ISA versus the SIPP. A further advantage to the ISA is that you can access that money at any age. So when you make contributions into your ISA, there's no age limit on accessing that money. You can make withdrawals from your ISA at any point. You're not locking that money away for a significant period of time. So if you think you might need that money in the next 5 years or 10 years, then you have access to it. It's not locked away. There are no restrictions on what you can withdraw and when you can withdraw it. So that's the other clear advantage of the ISA versus the SIPP. Now I'll move on to the disadvantages. So the first disadvantage is you don't get tax relief on contributions into an ISA. So if you were to contribute £10,000 into an ISA, that will be the total contribution. Whereas let's assume you're a basic rate taxpayer, that will be then you topped up with £2,500 in tax relief, so that will be a £12,500 starting investment. And obviously that can make a significant difference over time. That extra tax relief will grow and compound over time, so it will lead to significantly higher returns over time. So that's the main disadvantage to the ISA. The second disadvantage to the ISA is the contribution limit. So as of 24-25, you can only contribute £20,000 a year into an ISA, which is significantly less than a SIPP. The other thing about ISA contributions is it's use it or lose it. So if you don't use that contribution year, you can't then use it in future years. So you can't go back and take advantage of unused allowances. If you don't use it in that year, that's it. So that will be the other main disadvantage to the ISA. So in conclusion, which one is better and which one should you invest in? Well, that will depend on your personal financial goals. So if you plan on retiring at a standard retirement age, let's say in your late 50s or 60s, then the SIPP is definitely the better investment vehicle, mainly due to the tax relief that you will receive on any contribution into a SIPP. That will grow and compound over time, so your return should be significantly higher within a SIPP. However, if you plan on retiring early, so you're a proponent of FIRE, which stands for Financial Independence, retire early, like myself, and you plan on retiring in, let's say, your 30s or your 40s, then contributions into a SIP are not going to be of much use to you. So in that scenario, I would say that you should prioritise investing in an ISA over a SIP, because you can access that money at a younger age. If you're going to be retired at 40, let's say, then having a significant chunk in your ISA is significantly more advantageous than having a nest egg in a SIP which you can't access for at least 15 or 20 years. So depending on what your financial goals are will determine which investment vehicle you should use. I think my overall advice would be to use both. So I would look to invest in both the SIP and the ISA. That way you're still taking advantage of tax relief, but you're also making contributions into an investment vehicle which you have access to at a significantly earlier age. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching.